Hello and welcome to Page to Screen, the series where I read a book and then watch the movie in an attempt to finally get myself to watch more movies. I've seen painfully few movies in my lifetime and everyone's always ragging on me for not having seen this movie or that movie, so I'm doing it. But of course I have to incorporate books in that somehow because I am who I am. This episode I'm finally reading the movie that I've already seen. I know I've already watched it, but this movie is what inspired me to want to do this series, and that is The Spaceman of Bohemia. The movie for this came out last year. It's starring Adam Sandler, of all people, but it's not a comedy. It's a very heartwarming sci-fi about a Czech astronaut who is being sent off into space to investigate this purple cloud that appeared and go and gather some samples of it. And along the way, he makes a friend in a giant sentient alien spider. That sounds lovely. And that's not a spoiler, it is right here on the back of the book. I think in the movie it was kind of more of a reveal, but it is in the synopsis right back there, so not a spoiler. But yeah, when I watched this movie last year, it completely blew me away and skyrocketed onto my list of all-time favorite movies. I thought it was so brilliantly done. It was funny and heartwarming and sad and hopeful and full of love and caring, as well as being visually stunning. I had never heard of this book before watching this movie, and I probably wouldn't have had I not watched it first, so I'm glad that I watched it first. But yeah, of course, watching the movie made me want to read the book, and now here we are doing a Page of Screen, episode 3. So with this book, I did start it last night. I have the large print book, which is my first time reading a large print book, and my world has changed. I don't know why I never thought that large print was an option, but it is, and I love that. So I got to page 110 last night. I committed a sin and stopped not at the end of a chapter. I was just like mid-paragraph. I was like, I'm tired, and closed the book and went to bed. But my initial thoughts, honestly, I'm not as enthralled with it as I was for the movie. I'll definitely finish it, but I don't like it as much as I was hoping that I would. I find the main character to be really bland, and also like this book as a whole is weirdly sexual. There's just a lot of talk about boobs and things, and I'm like, can we stop? I'm not really sure why it's needed, but the main character as well is not as funny as I would have thought it was going to be. In the movie, the main character is Adam Sandler, and while it's not a comedy, there is still humor in it, and people in the book keep describing the main character as being funny, but I'm not really getting that. I just kind of see him as being really awkward and kind of weird, which I'm here for. I love weird people, but yeah, I'm not really getting the humor that I seem to be told that I should be seeing. But it is good so far, so I'll carry on with that today. I'm really hoping that I can finish it today because I've had this book out from the library for literally 3 months now, and I just keep having to renew it. I've been trying to film this video for quite some time and just keep not getting around to the book. But I have a book club meeting at the library tomorrow, so I would like to finish this and be able to bring it back. So that's the plan for today. I'm just gonna go buckle down on the couch and pick this up and hopefully get through the rest of it today. But yeah, that's the plan for this episode, so stick around if you want to hear my thoughts. And of course, even though I've already seen the movie, I will still watch it again. I have no problem doing so. I loved that movie so much, so I'm more than happy to watch it the second time. I completely forgot that I was making this video. My bad. Also, hello, Tony. Just creeping over here. So I finished Spaceman of Bohemia about a week ago now. It's been a bit. Just fully forgot that I was reading this for a purpose. So I'm giving this one a 3-star, which is not a bad rating. It is still a good book. I did enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I thought I was going to. So I think the main thing with this one is that I just kept being told that the main character was funny, and I was not seeing it. To me, he was really dry and almost creepy in some ways. It seemed like every other thought that he was having was something weirdly sexual. He was constantly talking about or thinking about or referencing genitalia of some kind, and it would not end over things that didn't really make sense to compare it to that. And it just felt very odd and, again, just off-putting. I think off-putting is the perfect way to describe my feelings on this book. That is just very much how I felt the entire way through. Even parts that I was really enjoying, I was still just kind of like on, because this main character's thought process was so odd. He just seemed like a real quirky guy, and not in a good way, you know what I mean? It was just the way that he was viewing other people was just really strange, and I didn't enjoy that a whole lot. I did really enjoy the parts where we were actually in space. Those were really cool. I loved watching him and the spider character Hanus get to know each other. I really wish that there was more of that. This book was told in like a split timeline between the present day where he's in space and then flashing back to his childhood, and every time that we flashed back to the childhood I was so bored because it just felt more like a historical fiction, and that's really not what I was here for. I don't read that genre for a reason, because I don't enjoy it. I was here for a thoughtful sci-fi set in space with a sentient spider friend, and I did get that, just not nearly as much, and a good half of this book was set in this character's childhood. I liked the things that were being said and the themes that were being explored during the flashback moments, and definitely had lots of merit on their own. It just wasn't what I was wanting out of this book, and not what I was expecting going into it. I did expect some of it because again, I have already seen this movie, so I did know that that was going to be in there, but I didn't realize how big of a part of the book that was going to be, and I was just kind of bored for a lot of it. So my main feelings to sum up my experience of this book was bored and off-putting. And that's maybe not what I want out of a book, but that's all right. I do think the writing was beautiful in some ways. A lot of the more introspective moments were really fascinating to read, and there were some beautiful lines in there, and I think that I would definitely read more from this author and see what else they have out. But sadly for this one, it was not a favorite. I'm not mad that I read it, but I could have not read it and not really missed anything either, you know what I mean? So sad to say that this was not a favorite. I was really hoping that it would be, because the movie is an all-time favorite of mine, but unfortunately it just wasn't. But with that said though, I do now get to go and watch the movie again, which I'm looking forward to. I don't rewatch movies very often, and whenever I do, I almost feel guilty rewatching things because there are so many movies that I haven't seen. So I'm definitely happy about the excuse to rewatch this movie, and I think I'm going to do that tonight. I'm a little bored right now. I'm not really in the mood to read, so a movie is a perfect thing to do instead. So I'm going to get comfy, grab a snack, and settle in with Spaceman, the movie. Okay, it is the next day. I did my rewatch of Spaceman last night, and watching the movie again made me realize what about the book didn't work for me. So I think the movie version of the main character worked a lot better for me, because he does still have that same personality. He is still kind of a creepy dude, but the movie makes it seem like he's that way because he's been alone in space for 6 months at the start of the movie, and he's starting to lose it, which makes a lot more sense and is a lot more understandable and interesting. Whereas the book version of the main character, during the flashbacks to his childhood, you see that he's been the same character the entire time. So he's just kind of a creepy dude throughout his entire life, and that made it really hard for me to like him because there's no reason for it, right? Like, he's just kind of that way. In the movie, it makes sense for him to start to kind of lose it a little bit because he's been dealing with this crazy thing that I couldn't even possibly imagine. Like, I could not imagine being alone in space for 6 months or for up to a year. Like the movie takes place 6 months into his mission, but he's only halfway through his mission. He's very lonely. He's dealing with the possibility of getting divorced. His wife won't talk to him, but no one's telling him why. He hasn't been sleeping. He's been hearing things. He's thinking that he's imagining and hallucinating this giant spider. So of course it makes sense for him to not really be all there and to be making choices that he wouldn't normally make that are a little bit questionable. So I was a lot more forgiving of his character during the movie, and I found that him acting that way really added to the tension of the movie and really put it into focus of like how much he is struggling. Whereas in the book, you saw him before he went to space and during, and it's like you're just the same person and you've always been kind of shitty. So I think that's why the book didn't really work for me in that same way. Plus the tension in the movie is so much better, especially the first half an hour of the movie. You're kind of always looking in the background, looking for things moving that aren't supposed to be moving. It could have been the setup for a horror movie in that first little bit. It was really, really cool. So definitely the tension's much better, the pacing is way better, the character is more interesting, and even after all the plot starts to come together, I found the main character in the movie is still so much more interesting because he is directly being challenged about how selfish he is as a human. And that's kind of the whole point of the movie, is him really facing himself and having this outsider look at his life in a really blunt way without any of the lenses that we as humans have, and just seeing his life for what it is, and him having to face the reality that he is maybe not a good person and especially not a good husband. It was such an interesting exploration of his character that I really enjoyed, whereas the book just didn't really do that. It was more so focused on his childhood. I feel like the book didn't really explore how he as an adult needs to improve as a person. Again, it focused a lot on his childhood and the horrible things that he went through and all the challenges that he had, which of course influenced him as an adult and absolutely plays a part into why he is how he is. But I feel like there was no accountability for that. It was just like, look what happened to me, now I'm an asshole, you know? Whereas the movie challenged that and made him realize, hey, I'm an asshole, let's fix it. So the movie I thought was a lot better for the character, as well as, again, the pacing and everything. Plot-wise, I enjoyed both pretty similarly. I did like, again, in the end of the book, where it kind of explored what happened afterwards. The movie just kind of ends at the climax of the book. The book explored a lot more past that, so that was great. I did like that more than the movie. But other than that, honestly, the movie's a lot better, and that is not a very common thing, which I'm surprised about. So on Letterboxd, this does not have good ratings. It has a 3-star average rating, and a lot of the reviews that I read were all between 1 and 2 stars, and I'm like, I love this movie. I gave it 5 stars. I was not the only person to get 5 stars, of course, but it was overwhelmingly negative reviews, and I thought it was great. A lot of the reviews were funny because it was just kind of commenting on how the only way for a man to get therapy is to go to space, which is hilarious. And like, yeah, absolutely. So that was really funny to read. I totally get the critiques of the bad reviews, but I still love it because it's just such an interesting movie. It's well made. This is also my favorite trope. I love books where a human and a non-human character become friends, and especially when that non-human character is learning what it means to be human. I love that so much. So all the scenes of Hanus like trying Nutella and learning what coffee is, I think are just so cute, and I absolutely love that. So this is perfectly my kind of thing, so it makes sense as to why I love it so much, and I do understand the critiques for it, but I love it, so I don't mind that others don't. And also the visuals in the movie, stunning. Oh my god, this movie is beautifully made. It was gorgeously shot. It had really interesting camera work in it. There's definitely a lot of effort put into the visuals, and it is much appreciated. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Spaceman of Bohemia and Spaceman the movie. I had a great time with these, and I'm really happy that I was finally able to get to this book. At long last, it took me forever to get to it. I can finally bring it back to the library. But that'll do it for this video. Let me know if you've read or watched Spaceman. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And if you have any other suggestions for episodes of Page to Screen, please let me know. I would definitely take recommendations. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.